Hello everyone. So this topic, as I said, this should be on CloudFront, and this is one of the this is one of the important topics to be covered, and you should know what is a CloudFront, what is a content delivery network is, and what is a content delivery network? Content delivery network, it is a system of distributor servers or network, means you can say it is a network that deliver web pages and other web content to a user based on the geographic locations of the user, the origin of the web page and the content delivery server. Let's assume my web page is at Mumbai and multiple users are accessing it from various places in the world. So a person sitting at Mumbai will have a very low latency compared to a user sitting at, let's say, North America, because uh, don't forget, internet is based is a the way internet backbones work. Don't think these, means as I depicted in here, straight lines. These are not straight lines actually. They actually go through fiber cables, and most of them goes under sea. So this adds latency. So CloudFront key terminology. These things you should be remembering. What is an edge location? This I have already covered in my first lecture on AWS. This is the edge location is a location where content will be cached. This is separate to an AWS region or an availability zone. You can see where the edge locations are by going to the AWS website itself. Currently it is around, let's say, 50 or maybe more, maybe 50 or more. What next is origin. This is the origin of the files that the CDN, content delivery network, will distribute. This can be either be an S3 bucket, an EC2 instance, an elastic load balancer, or Route 53. In our case, the origin is Mumbai. In our example, distribution, this is the name given to the CDN. Which CDN means, means this is a short form I'm using it here. In here, this is cloud delivery network, content delivery network, I'm sorry, pardon me, content delivery network, which consists of a collection of edge locations. So when we create a new CDN sort of network with AWS, it is called a distribution. So how does this CDN work? Let's say user requests go to the this is my web page. Let me assume this is the edge location. These are the edge locations, the red ones in where my pointer is right now. These are the edge locations and these are the users. User requests go to the edge location at first. Means user is requesting and it is going to the edge location at first, which fetches the result through distributed URL. The edge location will see whether or not the object is cached. Means this is the function of the edge location, and if assume this edge location currently does not have that cached, it pulls it down from the S3 bucket and caches it for the time to live, TTL. This goes for the first user. Let me say from Australia someone is pinging, so trying to access. This user is not getting this, means this user will be requested to the edge location, and the edge location, this user will be requesting from the edge location, and the edge location does not have the cached in it, so it will pull it from through distributor URL from my website which is hosted in here, and this will be cached for any other use, for means if someone else, some other user is also will also may also try to access the same thing. So for that, this will be cached in here for a time to live period. It will be there, and after that it will be expiring from the execution. And so the latency for this user who means who tried to reach the website for the content of the website will be much more than the latency of this user, because this is the second user. For this user, the information will be retrieved from this edge location, so it will be much more beneficial for this user, and there will be very low latency in this case. So what is Amazon CloudFront? Amazon CloudFront can be used to deliver your entire website, including dynamic, static streaming and interactive content, using a global network of edge locations. Requests for your content are automatically routed to the nearest edge location, so that content is delivered with the best possible performance. This is optimized to work with other Amazon Web Services like S3, Amazon EC2, which I will be covering in next lectures, Elastic Load Balancing or Load Balancer, and Route 53. This also works seamlessly with any non-AWS origin server which stores the original definitive versions of your files. So let's go ahead with the distribution types. So there are two sorts of distribution types. One is web distribution. This is typically used for websites, and the other is RTMP. RTMP, this is used for media streaming or flash files. And edge locations are not just read only, you can write on them too. The object is then put to the origin server. You can also clear the cached objects from the edge locations before TTL comes into effect, but this will be charged. The default time period for TTL is around 24 days. If you delete any object before that, you will be charged for the same. So let's continue with the CloudFront Distribution Lab after this. So before continuing, let's first go to S3. It's on the storage. As you can see here, we have two buckets. I'm not creating one more bucket. We have two buckets. One is in Mumbai and the other one is in Virginia. And I have already disabled this cross-region replication, which I did in my previous lab. So this bucket is in Mumbai. Let's see how much time does it takes to load. See, it came out in a flash. Right now Let's go to the Northern Virginia bucket and open it. See, it took much time to load. So here comes our CloudFront distribution. I visited some time back because that's why it's been recently visited services. So from where do you get it? Go to all services, network and content delivery, CloudFront. See, you got a splash screen out here. Since I have never created a distribution before, if a distribution had existed, so I wouldn't have got this splash screen. So let's go ahead, create distribution. As I already stated, there are two types of distribution. One is web and the other one is RTMP. Web is for text file, PHP, graphics files, and RTMP, these are media files for streaming media files using Adobe Flash Media and RTMP. Let's get started with this. Origin domain name. So what does this mean? Here, this is the Amazon S3 bucket. I have these many S3 buckets in here. I will be going ahead with this one, which is in Northern Virginia. Origin path. This you can give the folder name. The folder means in your S3 bucket you can mention the folder from where you are getting it. I am not mentioning anything in here. See, optional. If you want CloudFront to request your content from a directory in your Amazon S3 bucket or your custom origin, enter the directory name here beginning with a slash. CloudFront appends the directory name to the value and it continues. But I will be taking it from the root directory, means whole S3 bucket I'm taking, and this is the origin ID. Here origin ID, you can see this is my bucket name, and with that web prefix S3 hyphen is given. Restrict bucket access. This one, if you click in here, if you want to require that users always access your Amazon using CloudFront, not Amazon S3 URLs, click yes. This is useful when you are using signed URLs or signed cookies. So restrict bucket means it's saying that Amazon S3's URL won't be working, just the CloudFront URL will be working in here. So I'm giving it as yes. Once I give it as yes, see the option changes. Identity, create a new identity to require that users always access your Amazon S3 using CloudFront URLs. You assign a special CloudFront user an origin access identity to your origin. You can either create a new origin access identity or use existing. So you can means I'm going to create a new one in here. Grant yes update bucket policy, read permission. So path pattern means I can give the default pattern. So the path I can mention in here means if you want to access, if someone is trying to access PDF files, so it should go to this bucket, this origin. If someone is trying to access JPG files, it would go to this path. These regular expressions can be managed. So it uses regular expressions, and it's where you have got multiple origins, but and user is trying to access PDF file, they will get from this origin. These things can be mentioned in here. Viewer policy HTTP, HTTPS only, and this I will redirect HTTP to HTTPS. Allowed HTTP methods, I'll go ahead with this. So if you go ahead with this, then we can also read and write from in the edge location. These things I will keep it as default. The default TTL is 86,400 seconds, so this is equals to 24 hours, which is 1 day, and the maximum TTL is this much. Restrict viewer access. So this one is needed for some companies where just the assigned employees can only access those site, and no one from the internet, no one public access is restricted. So I'm keeping this as no right now. This has, I will keep it as this. This is Amazon web application, Amazon web application firewall. I'll keep it as none only, and I will go ahead with, you can enable login. I'm disabling. Cookie login can also be enabled. Distribution state is enabled. Let's create this distribution. This can also fail. So this is being created. You can see in here, this will take a while for creating. You can see in here, this is the domain name which is getting created. So I'll just pause the video until this status is enabled. Until the status in progress is done. Well, still the status is in progress and it's not in deployed. I'll pause the video. Once the status is in deployed, we can go ahead. So right now the status is deployed. So let's try one thing. Right now go to the EC3. Let me copy this first. Go to the S3. This is in storage. Let's go in here. I'll take out a notepad first and paste the URL in here. For this one, let me take this URL. Let's paste in here, and let's change this one to this, and let's see whether this is getting loaded or not. This one took time to load. Let me check right now how much time does it take. See, so in the first instance it was fetching directly from the server from Northern Virginia, so it took time. It means it was trying to load, and in the second instance it was cached in my nearest edge location, so this is not taking time to load. So this is it. Let me go to the CloudFront. Here you can see the properties. This one is for origin, means as I said earlier, you can have multiple origins for a single distribution page. So you can have in here behaviors. This is the path. Means you can provide multiple means where you can decide whether in which bucket the user shall be routed for getting the PDF files he is requesting, or which bucket should be routed, the user should be routed to which bucket to get the JPG files, etc., etc., like that. Error pages, restrictions. Right now this is disabled, so we can go ahead and we can enable it. So once we are enabling it, what is whitelist and what is blacklist? If you go ahead with this, whitelisting means the countries from where your CloudFront, where you want your CloudFront to distribute your content, and blacklist is the opposite, the countries where you do not want CloudFront to be distributed. I means I don't want to enable it, so that means and I'm very much good with all the countries, so means I don't want any enmities, so I won't be enabling it right now. And let me cancel it. Invalidations, this one, to removes them from the CloudFront edge caches. As I said earlier, it will be removing the cache before the time to leave, but this will cost you. So that is it for today's for the CloudFront distribution. If you are happy with the session, do subscribe and like and share also. Thank you.